Authentication strategy in TLS deserves deliberate tiers instead of a one-size answer. Enforce server authentication everywhere so clients never whisper secrets to imposters. This is table stakes. Add mutual TLS, often called MTLS, on administrative consoles, machine-to-machine control paths, and partner interfaces where you need strong, certificate-backed client identity that cannot be replayed like a bearer token. Keep mutual authentication bounded to places that truly need it, because certificate lifecycle for clients adds operational weight. Balance that weight with the risk of credential theft or session cloning on those paths. Where user identity must sit above transport, bind your application tokens to the TLS channel, token binding or proof of possession, so stolen tokens do not travel usefully across sessions or origins. Control plane and data plane separation in IPsec is not theory. It is how you prevent flapping or outages during stress. Keep key exchange, IKE, isolated from the protected flows in routing and firewall policies. Monitor security association, SA, counts and rekey success rates, and alarm on unusual drops that persist beyond transient link noise. Ensure your high-availability design considers SA replication or graceful renegotiation during failovers, so tunnels do not collapse exactly when you need them. Treat rekeys as first-class events, track time to rekey, failure modes, and peer behavior, and keep vendor firmware current where IKE parsing vulnerabilities appear. Healthy IPsec is observed and predictable. If you cannot answer how many active SAs and when do they turn over, you are flying without instruments. SMIME slots neatly into organizations that require signed mail by default and selective encryption when content warrants, such as legal, finance, health, or executive communications. Publish user certificates in a directory that clients can discover. Issue personal certs with clear identity vetting, and configure clients to sign by default so recipients gain integrity and origin on every message without extra clicks. Encrypt when policy or sensitivity calls for it, and keep key recovery procedures documented and auditable so archived mail remains readable under lawful access. Teach senders the difference between signing and encrypting, and configure mobile clients with the same discipline so messages do not lose protections on the go. The aim is a norm. Mail is signed, and encryption is normal for sensitive threads, not an occasional ritual reserved for specialists. Client baselines are the other half of the equation, because strong servers cannot rescue broken fleets. Establish trusted root stores that are curated and updated quickly when authorities change trust status, and pin or constrain trust where business permits. Standardize on allowed TLS versions 1.2 and 1.3 only, and define the client behavior on validation failure. Fail closed for administrative and partner interfaces, present unambiguous warnings elsewhere, but log aggressively so remediation can occur. Keep system libraries current so cipher lists and certificate parsing improve with the ecosystem, and disable legacy protocol stacks that hang around for just in case with no real consumers. Baselines are living. Tie them to endpoint management and measure compliance so exceptions are rare and temporary. Telemetry is your early warning system for protocol drift and certificate hygiene. Collect handshake error codes, count by client platform and version, and distinguish genuine client bugs from your misconfigurations. Record negotiated cipher and protocol distributions at edges so you can see which deprecations will hurt and which are already safe. And monitor certificate expiry windows with paging for critical services long before they enter the danger zone. Track OCSP stapling freshness, HSTS adoption, and the rate of validation failures by hostname. Then feed these numbers into weekly reviews so the team tunes before customers complain. Silent degradation is what critics call "it worked yesterday." Telemetry turns it into "we saw it and fixed it Tuesday." Validation must include both scanners and synthetic probes so you test from many eyes and from your own. External scanners catch broad hygiene gaps, weak suites left on, TLS 1.0 leaks, missing HSTS, while internal probes verify mutual TLS policies, client certificate requirements, and name constraint behaviors in your private routes. Schedule probes after every change and on a cadence, and store reports alongside change tickets with a quick narrative of what was fixed or why a risk was accepted temporarily. When scanners flag a weak suite or a misconfiguration, correct quickly and record the evidence. Speed matters because protocol hygiene is rarely a one-and-done affair. The standard you want is simple: no open findings older than a sprint, and every exception has a date and an owner. A few pitfalls reappear so often that a program should forbid them outright. Wildcard certificates are convenient, but expand blast radius and complicate least privilege. Use them sparingly, prefer SAN lists with explicit names, and limit private key access to the smallest possible set of endpoints. Self-signed certificates in production short-circuit trust paths and invite man-in-the-middle surprises. Reserve them for controlled labs and bootstrap flows with pinned fingerprints only. Downgrade vulnerabilities persist when servers allow obsolete protocols or accept weak cipher suites for compatibility. If a business exception demands a weaker profile for a single legacy client, isolate it with a dedicated listener and an aggressive retirement plan. Clear bans prevent temporary decisions from becoming permanent liabilities. Upgrading legacy TLS endpoints without breaking older but critical clients calls for choreography rather than bravado. Start by measuring real-world client capabilities, protocols, ciphers, SNI usage at the edge for a month so you know which populations will feel each change. Introduce a parallel listener with modern policy on canary domains or a subset of traffic, and monitor error rates, handshake latencies, and business outcomes. Give a small group of legacy clients a dedicated legacy endpoint behind distinct hostnames to decouple their fate from the majority. Communicate dates and testing guidance to partners. Reduce the legacy surface in steps, disable truly dangerous suites first, and keep a rollback ready for each stage. When the final cutover arrives, you are moving a small understood remainder rather than betting the company on a midnight redeploy. To close the loop, conclude with operational guardrails that make hygiene stick. Order a complete certificate inventory across public and private endpoints with owners, chains, key lengths, and expiration dates, and put expiry alarms into paging so surprises stop happening on weekends. Stage a hardening of cipher and protocol policies in phases tied to your telemetry. Remove export and obsolete suites first, then disable TLS 1.1, then converge on a single modern set that all major clients already negotiate. Document mutual TLS boundaries, S/MIME defaults, and IPsec SA lifetimes in one place, and set review dates so these decisions stay alive. When service, network, and email protections are tuned with evidence and maintained with cadence, the organization gets quiet security that endures, fast enough for today and strong enough for tomorrow. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit BareMetalCyber.com.